What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Set It Off Sundays. This is your boy, Joshua Silva, and of course, we got Mr. Law.
What's going on, people? What's going on with it?
Yes, we are still virtual, and we're still dealing with the pandemic as everybody else is, but we're having a good time. We're building, we're growing, and we just want to have some conversations with you guys and talk about what's going on in this world and, how we're going to have the proper mindset and attack what we need to attack this week. So we're going to get more to it after this. Peace.
Peace.
Because there is another way. I know what it feels like to be a fraud. I know what it is to feel uncertain. I know what it is to be afraid. And I also know none of those feelings are my true reality. There is another way.
Set It Off Sunday.
Head down, just doing my job. I ain't worried about nobody else. I'm not concerned with what's going on with anybody else. I'm going to just do my job. And I wish more people were like that. Employees and business owners and, just everybody in general, because that right there, the inability to mind your own business and to worry about your own shit in front of you is what literally destroys so many people. It disgusts me. It really does. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like even with, so what I wanted to talk about tonight was baby mama drama. That's literally what I wanted to get into, but not so much the baby mama drama side of it or the portion of what to do or what not to do. In the last 2 weeks, I've dealt with a lot of young men that are having issues either with their baby mothers, the mother of the child, or they're having issues with their sister, or they're having issues with their mom. I've had a lot of men coming to me with issues with a female, and the common thing that I'm seeing between all these men and the females is it's really not even about emotion or what's fair or what's right or what's wrong. It's about control. These men are not, in their mind, they think they're, I'm trying to do the best thing I can do for my child, or I'm trying to do, or I was disrespected in some way and I can't stay in this home, with this type of atmosphere, when the fact of the matter is the truth and what it's all really about is they don't feel like they have control. And it's an ego issue, and it's not really a real issue. And I believe that there are a lot of people who get into situations that could be avoided if they were able to just check their emotions at the door and say, what is this really about? Is this really about me pursuing the right thing, or is this really about me feeling a certain type of way? And I believe with a lot of issues when it comes to, men and their sons' mothers, a lot of it is control issues. And a lot of it is not so much what's good for the child or what's fair, what's right. It's about how do I feel? How, as a man, do I feel like I'm in control? Me having, 3 kids from 3 different women. Of course, I smartened up on the third one, married her, and I've been through it all with my son's mothers, and there's not there's no right, there's no like no one magic way for every woman. But as I look back, the minute I started to mind my own business and not be so concerned with control, but more concerned with, you know, being the best version of me that I could be, my relationships with my son's mothers got better. And not only with them, but with other people. You know me, man. We go back. I've always been an aggressive person. Um, I wouldn't say that I'm a controlling person, but I can have the ability to kind of like smother somebody with my ideas, my thought process, and the way that I want it. So yeah, that's control. That is control. But the bottom line is, I've learned as I've gotten older that the more I give creative freedom and I give trust and I communicate clearly and I set, strong, definitive boundaries of what I'm not going to bend on and what I will bend on, the better my relationships have gotten with my son's mothers and other people that I've developed relationships with over time. Am I making sense?
I get what you're saying. I
Yeah.
understand completely.
Yeah. So it just bugs me, man, that it's not even, it bugs me is not the word. Again, like I've had these conversations with these young men, and it's always, well, she did this, and I need to see my child for X amount of time, X amount of hours, or X amount of days. And it's like, look, bro, I get it. I love my children, but there are certain times where things don't make sense to me, but they have to play out in a specific way, and you have to let that female win that particular battle in order for you to win the whole entire war. And some of these dudes, they don't see it, and they don't understand either that though she's not Miss Perfect, at that point she's probably doing some real mean and vindictive things. She's probably saying things that she shouldn't be saying. I mean, my baby mamas, what I mean, they were just mean at times. But the fact of the matter is that they were hurt. You know what I mean? And they were scared, and they were, feeling the need to protect themselves because they weren't sure of what I was going to do or what I was going to say or how I was going to act. And I had to learn that at one point there was something that I loved about that woman, whatever it was. It may have just been a physical attraction. It may have been more than that. It doesn't really matter. There was a point where I thought this woman was a wonderful person. I thought this woman was, my everything. And, she wasn't my everything, but she was a wonderful person. And regardless of anything, no matter what, her and I will forever have a bond because we've built a beautiful child together. And like, no matter what, my sons, they don't become the men that they are today without their mothers. And they don't become the men they are today without their fathers. So that's just the bottom line. So there will always be that bond between parents until that young child grows up to be a full adult. And I think that as men, sometimes we don't recognize that, we don't see that, we don't understand that you can't just block this woman out and no longer take her feelings, her emotions, and her thought process into consideration. It is different on how you react to things, but it's not different at the same time. So, you know, uh, baby mamas are not evil people. They're not. They're people, and they're not perfect. They're gonna do crazy stuff at times, but I think as men, it is our obligation to be level-headed, to be cool and calm, and and think logically, and do what makes sense rather than what makes us feel good, and we can puff our chest out. That's what real king is about. That's what being a real king is. Being a real king is not showing a mighty fist all the time and ruling with an iron fist, and just being an asshole and being aggressive. A real king understands how to communicate. A real king understands how to diffuse a situation and try to find common ground where everybody can benefit and win and feel accomplished and like and and um and just good about the situation. That's what a real king does, and I think that as men, we need to understand that we need to learn and develop a better tactic with working not just with females, just in our relationships in general. But a lot of that stems from the feeling of being in control all the time, or that need to feel in control. And even then, when you have that, most of the time it's just perception, because even then you're not really in control. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know, bro. You think you want to chime in? I know I've been ranting for a minute.
Nah. It's funny because I mean, for me, I'm just everything that you're talking about. I'm just thinking as far as because I mean, like I said, the topic came up based on people you've spoken to, and we all have our own situations to handle as far as men, and as far as how things are dealt with, as far as how we handle things with our relationships or our kids or not seeing our kids or whatever. Because this topic, bro, is so big. I
Yeah,
mean, it can go. It has so many layers to it because of different people that have different circumstances. Like you said, your
exactly.
situation is different because you have 3 different baby mamas and 3 different situations with your sons. And also, you got guys like myself where I have 3 kids. So and I have the same, baby mama, wife, whatever.
Right.
So everything is different. And the word that you said that I took from all this was perception. A lot of guys not knowing they're trying to have control. A lot of guys might not, want to say that, but it comes down to that. And when that happens, control is a huge emotion, bro.
Yeah.
And some guys don't understand what that is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lack thereof, or keeping your control in check, or just by being a man, you feel like you have to be the dominant guy because hey, I'm a guy poking my chest out. I have to be that person, but in reality, you don't. You know, but it takes a lot of years, a lot of mistakes, talking to the right people or whatever the case may be to, get that in check. So I don't really have much to add to it, man, because I mean, you've hit the topic pretty good. I'm just, hoping that guys that hear this or see this, could reach out or if they can offer advice because every experience is different. You
Right.
know? And
Yeah.
social media is difficult because we deal with a lot of men that kind of like put their situations on social media, and you don't know the other side of it. You just know what they know, and you know that person. You're like, wow, that guy's going through something, but he might not be. It might be his own self-infliction. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And you're like, oh, this guy's really don't have it that bad. He's saying this, but it's not that true. You know what I'm saying? So now who do you believe? You know what I mean? So it's very tricky, man. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I
that
mean,
I'm glad you brought that up because I don't understand that. I don't understand the whining on Facebook about what your baby mama did to you or what your son's father did to you. I don't get it. If you're looking for empathy, if you're looking for suggestions on what to do, then at the very least, DM somebody. Don't put your business out there publicly for you know biased opinions to weigh in on. It doesn't make any sense because you're exactly right. If my friend is talking about his baby mama on Facebook and I don't know her all that well, I don't know the full situation, but he's twisting and turning things, not intentionally trying to make her look bad, but it's just perception. It's what we do.
mhm.
It's what we do. We change a little word of and to but, or we add 5 or 6 different little things to the mix to make it seem like this person's evil or this person's not a person of integrity, when typically a lot of it's just misunderstandings and miscommunications and assumptions, bro. Assumptions drive me nuts. You know what I mean? Like, we will assume because we didn't hear from somebody, that they have an attitude or whatever, or they're ignoring you, or like you'll call somebody and it goes, straight to voicemail, and it's like, well, why are they rejecting me? It's like we're taking it personal, and then they start reading into stuff, and next thing you know, there's wars, between two parents that's being created over next to nothing. I don't understand that. Like, I really don't.
That you know, and honestly, man, like, you know, being that I'm an imperfect man that's working on myself, I'm guilty of that. I've been guilty of that, and not even so much in like the whole realm of baby mama, but you know, I'm guilty of it because I mean, we all are. We're human, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But that's things that I have to work on myself, and I know that, you know.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, though, you know, for me, it hasn't been where it's been detrimental.
yeah.
Makes sense? Like, because I've always been the type to get over things relatively easy. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I've just been built that way. Being from the South, being a different type of breed, things don't bother me forever. But, you know, things do hit me and I have to, you know, take a step back and think about them.
Right,
But like you said, things have gotten so out of hand with certain people over a small topic,
right.
like you said. And I'm just going to add to what you said about the whole thing with like baby mamas and baby daddies, whatever. Two things to it. At one point, you guys cared about each other
Right.
enough to make a kid or enough to be in the same bed, regardless of how it happened, right? And that kid gets affected ultimately. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I know people that I'm not even gonna say that their baby mama keep the kids from them, whatever. But I know a lot of guys that don't see their kids because they're like, well, I don't like my baby mama.
Yeah.
So
She ain't
I
got nothing to do with it.
kids, right? So I get that part. You don't like her, but that kid suffers, and then that kid grows up, and that kid has a kid. Now that kid doesn't know how to be a father or mother because that father wasn't around, right? So now that kid's like, okay, my dad left me. I'm gonna leave my kid, and that's how the cycle continues. Make sense? Because
Oh
I
yeah.
know a lot of people you talk to that come from broken homes, right? What happens is either they're in a situation with no baby mother or baby father in the situation because they came from a broken home, or that's the way it's trending. You know what I mean? Like you talk to a lot of your friends, are like, yo, your mom and daddy together, right? They're like, no, because they
Right.
got like 3, 4, 5 different baby mamas or daddies, whatever. And I mean, it happens. It's rare that it breaks, but I mean, you know,
No,
that,
you're right.
that's my experience, anyways. You know what I mean?
You're right. Listen, I come from a broken home. You know what I mean? And look where we're at right now. But the one thing I can say is that my father always put forth an effort. You know what I mean? He made sure to call, and my parents had me young. They was young. I don't want to put their business on the street, but they were super young when they had me. So like, we're talking about children trying to raise children. And
Right.
even with all that, my father, he was a man of integrity. He did everything that he possibly could do within his power to be the best example of a man that for me that he could be. He was by far not perfect. Um, but he was present. And that's more important than perfection any day.
And on my side, right, I came from a broken home. I vaguely remember my relationship with my mother and my father,
Yeah.
right? So mine is twofold because my mom and my dad split. But what happened was I never saw my dad, right? And then my mom was kind of non-present.
Yeah.
So even though I was raised by my mother's side of the family, my aunt and my grandmother, and ultimately my sister, she's older than me, but even now, like my dad's side of the family is huge. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But when I go down south to visit my family, I rarely go see them
Yep.
because I'm always around my mother's side of the family.
Yeah. And you don't really know them that
I
well.
don't really know them, and it's unfortunate because I struggle raising my son. He's 21 years old in a few days, but I struggle raising him because I didn't really understand the nuances of being a father because my dad didn't really raise me. So I kind of like learned as I went. And it was a lot of verbal, it was a lot, no physical. I never put my hands on my child, but
Yeah, but
it
I've
was a lot
met
of
your kid.
verbal.
I've met your kid and I know
Right.
him. You know what I mean? And you've done a fantastic job of being a father. Again, not perfect, but you're forever
Right.
present.
Right. And that's the thing. I never wavered being present. That's one thing
Right.
about it. I'm in my son's life every day. I mean, I just talked to my son a few minutes ago. So I mean, regardless of all that, but like you said, you learn as you go. You
Right.
learn, you make mistakes, and there's no book to this, bro. That's what people don't understand. And I learned too, when you're in a situation with anybody, you can go in with a script, but as soon as the script gets flipped, now you got to figure that out. You know what I mean? You can be like, all right, I'm gonna talk to this person. I'm gonna say A, B, and C, and when that
Right.
person comes back with D, you're like, oh man, I didn't have
Right.
an E. I didn't have an E
Yeah.
ready. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how life is. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys, instead of dealing with that, they'd rather just be like, you know what? I'm gonna just let it be because again, they don't have that experience from a dad telling them how to do it, or how it is, you know. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah, man.
unfortunate, man.
You touched you, you touched on one more thing. I want to talk about this, and then we can wrap it up. But there's something that you just said inside of what you just said, and that was a lot of these guys. You know, they I can't remember exactly how you worded it, but it made it seem like they quit too early. You know what I mean? On a female, they quit too early, and they don't really take the time to really understand who this person is in front of them, number one, and number two, have the patience to see if there's a real relationship there. I think that and think isn't even the word. I see it a lot, especially us as men. We're made by God to have high sex drives. Like, for the most part, most men have high sex drives. And to make matters worse, it's always like left, right, this, that, you know what I mean? The search for variety. And society, over the years is getting better with this. But there was a time, especially 80s, 90s, I would say early 2000s, when it was like, if you didn't have 4 or 5 girlfriends, you know what I mean? You weren't really a man. You weren't really cool. You know what I mean? If you weren't a pimp, if you weren't in the streets, hustling and doing your thing with multiple females, then you were just not a man.
Right.
And that's bullshit. It's actually the exact opposite. And don't get me wrong, if you're single and you're out there and you're, trying to find a mate or just having a good time, I got nothing against that. But there is nothing greater than having a single union or bond with a person that you're compatible with and that you can grow with and start to learn and understand who they are, and they can learn and understand who you are, and you're able to be comfortable with each other. Like, it doesn't get better than that. You get 5, 6, 20, 70 females. That's never going to compare to a real relationship. But those real relationships don't happen overnight. They take time. They take so much time. And that's the scary part, because it's usually not till after 6 or 7 years that you really get comfortable and really understand and know what your spouse wants and what a real relationship is. And then the crazy part about that is it seems like every 7 years after that, there's like a reset and there's a change. And it's almost like you as a couple, you have to adapt and start to grow with each other, or you don't. And that's why you see some of the things that you see nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And the biggest part to that is also is it's funny because relationships are almost like, in a weird way, almost like cell phones. And I'm gonna break it down for you real quick. So a cell phone is communications. That's the ultimate communication device, right? A cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
But a cell phone's always changing. Every 6 months to a year, a cell phone changes. Every 2 years, people upgrade their cell phones. And all they're doing to those cell phones is pretty much changing small features to the cell phone because they want to have more people buy another cell phone.
Right.
So relationship, same deal, right? Every couple of years or so, you go through a change physically, emotionally. You might go through a change spiritually or financially, a different job or whatever.
Oh yeah.
All that's going to cause you to change.
Right.
You might read a book. You might get educated. You might run into an old friend that you met years ago and get reacquainted with them, whatever, but it's going to change, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people change quicker than others, or sometimes people change where other people don't want to change at the time. But the biggest issue I see is if you guys don't go over those changes, it's almost like doing a restart, like you said, because if you don't, somebody's going to get left behind, or somebody's going to be like, oh, damn, I didn't realize this was going on, because they got comfortable with that person and whatever. And it's difficult because some people just don't realize it. And it happens. It does, you know what I'm saying? But
absolutely,
at the end of the day, if you really care about that person, you'll be able to either wait for their change or change with them or whatever.
Or help them change, help them grow.
Right. We don't always grow at the same time. I saw something today. Let me paraphrase it. I'm not sure how it was. It was like, if a woman's gonna be a woman, so don't change women, but change your woman, right? Some along those lines, like not so much change your woman, but like, instead of going out to look for something else, right? Like guys go out, okay, I'm sick of this
Right.
boring or whatever. Let me go find something else. But find out why she's boring, or talk to her and change with her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh, if she likes running, let's go for a run. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If you like video games, let's play video games. Compromise. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like you said, that small compromise can give you big results, right? You might not want to do it, but if you do it because you care about that person, it far exceeds what the situation is.
Amen.
And I've seen it, I've been there, I've done it, man, and on both sides, man. You know what I'm saying? So I've jumped the gun, and I've jumped to conclusions on many things in my life. I ain't perfect. Like I said, I made a ton of mistakes, but I know who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and man, and we're not sitting here casting judgment on anybody. Everything that we're talking about, as you and I both know, are are parts of our lives that we've lived. This is real life. This is reality, and it's in this small time. I don't know whether it's been 30 minutes or whatever. We've crossed a lot. We've talked a lot about men and their ability to recognize control, uh, or their need of it. We talked about relationships and how to, work through them and have conversations and understanding and learn to grow together. And I know we're just scratching the surface of these things. There's a lot more depth that you can go into with those categories. But the bottom line is, we as men think that we know it all. Like, men are so afraid, we're fearful of asking for help because we're afraid of being judged or looked down upon as a lesser male, or somebody that's ignorant, who doesn't know, which goes back to control. Like, bro, there were so many things in my life. If I would have just taken the time to ask more questions and humble myself, I could have made a lot more simple for myself. And I don't think that I think humility and the ability to be honest with yourself as a man and to grow is it's the ultimate weapon in a peaceful life.
Yes. I had to think about that. No, because that was deep, man, because honestly, it's real. I mean, that is real. And like I said, man, because of what I've been through in my life, as far as like my journey, if you will, and the ultimately being able to humble myself, because where I'm at right now, I never thought I would be here. You know what I'm saying? But also it's a blessing because I'm here and I can still make a change for my family, for somebody else's family, because at the end of the day, we all know that everybody has their own situation to deal with, right? And everybody has a different situation. Yours is different from mine, but at the same time, it's the same. You know what I'm saying? So how we deal with it, how we go forward, some guys may not be able to talk to another man and be able to humble themselves, ask for help, or, I need this person. Because like you
Right.
said, a lot of guys are afraid to kind of like admit they're wrong, you know what I mean? Or admit that they made a mistake because they don't want to be judged or looked upon as somebody that did something bad or wrong, right? Because it's hard to change a man's mind. Let's face it. When a man's right, he's right, regardless of, you could be looking at the wall like, damn, that wall is blue. Nah, it's green. How's it green? No, that wall's, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it happens that way. We're just knuckleheads in that regard, So we have to learn to humble ourselves, man, and be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Observant.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So observe what's going on and appreciate things for what they are.
And aware aware of how
Yeah.
you are reacting to a situation.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, man.
Facts.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I didn't intend to go down this road, honestly, but I'm glad that we did.
Yeah,
You know,
but that's the beautiful part about what we do, man. I mean, going down every road is genuine. There's
right,
no script to this, man. It never will be,
right.
because two men that have a lot of experience and a lot of love and a lot of knowledge to share with people, regardless. You know
That's
what
what's
I'm
up.
saying?
That's what's up. Listen, man. I'm gonna cap it right here. I think that there's some great stuff here for our listeners to think about. And again, Set It Off Sunday is not always about the rah rah foo foo stuff. Our goal is to create a mindset for males and other strong individuals to create a mindset of peace, prosperity, growth, and that only happens when you touch all angles and all sides of the scale. So that's where we're at right now. So we want to wish everybody a pleasant week. We want to just thank God that we're here and that we're able to do what we're doing. And that's all I got. Peace.
Hey.